Hi there, it's Wendy from Ask the Landlady, and I'm here with all the tips and tricks to help you make a profit in real estate rentals. And today's question is, what do I do if I have a holdover tenant? First of all, what's a holdover tenant? Okay, this is basically a tenant whose lease has ended, but he or she has refused to move from your unit. This can happen under a number of scenarios. Maybe they've given you notice to leave and you've re-rented the apartment, but then they didn't find anything, so they have nowhere to go. Or the lease is ending and you have plans for the unit, like maybe you want to renovate and sell and the tenant does not move out. So while it seems reasonable and logical that your tenant will move when you've given them a 30-day notice and informed them that the lease is expired, that's not always the case. That's where you have a holdover tenant. And a holdover tenant is not a squatter, right? Let's make that clear. A squatter is a stranger who tries to move into your empty unit that you have no relationship with. You have a relationship with the holdover tenant. You actually had a lease or have a lease with them that has expired, or that they've told you they want to move out, or you've told them to move out, and then life situations happen to where they are still there and want to stay there and you don't know what to do. Okay, first of all, you have a couple options. First of all, if you want or need that tenant to leave, you're selling the place, or they aren't paying rent, whatever, don't accept any rent if you want them to leave. Say they're selling drugs and you've told them to get out, and then they say no, and then they're trying to pay rent. Don't accept rent. You've already told them to leave. You've already given them a 30-day notice. You're within your legal rights to get them out. Don't start the process again of accepting rent. Once you accept rent, you've accepted them as a tenant again, and they can legally stay there. So you're gonna establish ongoing tenancy. So if you don't want to do that, don't accept any rent, any partial payments, nothing. Somebody else is supposed to move in and you need that person out. You're like, no, you stick to your guns. No, I'm not accepting rent. You were supposed to move. You need to get out. So that's when you can either start an eviction process. You can say, you didn't move out. Here's your 3-day notice. You have 3 more days. If not, I'm filing an eviction. And then that might get them moved out so that you can move on to your next situation or whatever you were going to do. If they don't, then you will have to do that legal eviction, unfortunately. But again, there's situations where you want them out. Don't accept rent. Start that eviction process. Number 2, if the tenant's next housing didn't pan out, we've had this happen every once in a while, and they want to stay longer and you don't have anyone else lined up, okay, it's a good opportunity to maybe get another lease in place. Say, okay, fine, we can do it on a month-to-month basis, or get them on the hook for another 6 months or something. If they're a good tenant and you want to keep them, that is definitely a valid option. So my recommendation would just be to do some paperwork to confirm things with them. Now, a good way to avoid this scenario altogether is to reach out to your tenant at the end of the lease period, make sure they're going to want to stay or do another lease. What I tell everyone is to assume they're staying after a 1-year lease unless we get a written 30-day notice. If we get a 30-day notice, then we reach out to the tenant with clear instructions on what we expect to move out, what date we expect those keys by at the latest, and if they're moving mid-month, what their prorated rent will be, all the clear instructions on how we want it kept up or cleaned or ready for the next person, and all those types of things. And you know your tenants. If you don't think they're gonna comply, then maybe don't rent the apartment to somebody else till you make sure they've definitely moved out. If they're the kind of person that you just have a feeling they're gonna be lagging at the end or having difficulty getting out, then maybe don't do that so that you have that little bit of buffer. Prevention is the best strategy here. Open communication. Your go-getters, you know this person's bought a house, you know they're ready, they already own the house, they've started moving things. They're probably going to be out. It's not going to be a problem. You're not going to have to do that type of thing. But you know your tenants. If you think there's some red flags, then again, it's open communication that the key is here. Work together to try to get them up to your established thing. Like, you will be out on March 31st because I have somebody else coming in April 2nd and I need you out on that date. So again, that open communication so that you don't end up with that holdover tenant. So again, it's not easy being a landlady or landlord. Sometimes you think you just can buy this house, you're gonna put a renter in there, it's all gonna go smooth sailing. But these situations do happen, and that's why we are all in this together. We all need to keep having this dialogue so we can learn from each other. So thanks, hit subscribe, shoot me a comment, and have a great day.